Good day, fish tankers. If you followed my channel for a while, you know by now what kind of aquariums I keep. They're mostly low-tech planted tanks, meaning there's a dirted substrate, soil capped with sand, and lots of wood, sometimes spider wood, and your easier plants like your Cryptocorynes, Vallisneria, some Amazon swords, Anubias here and there, and one or two stems sometimes. But you get the drift because there's no CO2 injection in my tank. So even though I've upgraded my lights recently, there's no CO2 injection. So they're low-tech tanks that can still be done on a budget. But you have to sometimes stretch yourself a little bit. And I've decided to finally go full in. And this is my next project. What have we got here? A rimless 60 by 35 by 40 centimeter low iron crab aqua aquarium. So on its dedicated cabinet, and then we've got a full ADA substrate system. We've got Amazonia version 2 aqua swale. We've got some ADA power sand there for the bottom. So we're going in for full Monty here, and there's of course a Chihiros light, fully programmable, custom made stand. And what do we have underneath in the cabinet? We've got Arsay Biomaster 250 that's got the heater built in. So taking that out, and there's the CO2 canister. Let's take the plunge. So instead of wood, I'm going for a rocky hardscape. I've got this red dragon stone, but propping it up with that stone is going to be too much bulk. So I found some smaller, flatter ones in my hardscape box, and this sort of props them up nicely. And there's some good grooves here in the stone. I'm thinking I can add some Bucephalandra, fasten them to the grooves. And then I made these little squares, or cut these little squares from this egg crate material to distribute the weight so that it doesn't form a pressure point and crack. And the Arsay Biomaster I've taken apart in the garage here. I'm going to run it here in a bucket of water first, because it's been standing for a year in a cupboard. Biomedia, I chucked out the plastic biomedia. It comes with it. It's about just under a liter of Seachem Matrix in one of these trays. And the Seachem Matrix goes in the bottom in the beginning of a flow, but there is a pre-filter. So it goes through a pre-filter first. I think that's why it's in this order. I'm going to follow the manufacturer's instructions. There's two baskets of coarse sponge, and then a finer sponge way at the end. And then we put this little grid on the end in between the pump head and the media. So now to put on the pump itself, make sure your O-ring is fitting nicely. It's very sturdy, good build quality. There it goes in, and then you fasten those clips. Sturdy clips. It's definitely a better quality than your usual Chinese model that you find. And then there's separate places for the pre-filter, the heater, as well as the inlet and outlet attachments to go in. Here's the pre-filter. It's got a priming mechanism on top. It's basically a lot of fine sponges on a shaft in there. You just align the tabs and it simply pushes in, and then you take this lever and you snap it to close and it seals. Basically the same thing with the taps. There you go. You basically align the tabs and then you push it in. So there's no making mistakes of putting the out next to the in or something like that. And then you close that by sealing those levers. Right, there you've got that. And then the heater also goes in. It comes with a 150 watt heater. I'm going to set it to 24 degrees because it's an aquascape what we're doing here. It just goes in like that. And here we are the next day. It's running. You can hear it is virtually silent, no noise at all. And there it is running on this bucket, so there's no leaks. One thing that'll put strain on your relationships is if you cause a flood in the lounge floor. There we've got the hardscape in. I'm just going to do these two rocks. Later on, if I want a little bit of detailing or a little smaller rocks in between, I can add that on. But I thought I would go simple, almost Iwagumi type of thing, although I'm no aquascaper, so be easy on me. It's my first time to really try and do this. And now we're adding the power sand. That's got all kinds of additives there. I read on the packet. Add some minerals, adds a bit of height as well. It's porous. It looks almost like a sort of a pumice, soil, powdery mixture. And there that is in the back. And now I can use this little spade, or whatever you call it. Now I also look like MJ Aquascaping and George Farmer and Green Aqua and those guys, just trying to spread the power sand around here, like that, around the rocks. It goes in the bottom. It's the opposite of a dirted tank. It's not really sand, it's more sort of gravelly. Just try and make it neat. I'm going to bank it towards the back, but I also want some to the front. I just don't want it right up to the front glass. So let's just keep spreading that. And there we go. It is a bit of a process, but it's late at night here. So I've got the house to myself and I can carry on. Now I just want to get it away from the front glass there. Just move it away with this little thingamajig. I keep forgetting the name, sorry. No, it's not a scraper. Anyhow, and with the Aquaswell there are these additives that look like root tabs. I'm just going to put it on top of the bottom, on the power sand and on the glass at the bottom, and then we're going to add the Aquaswell. I'm going to add it to the front first so that I don't push all the power sand down onto the front glass, and then work my way towards the back. There's quite a bit here. I've got a big bag of Amazonia and another smaller bag just in case I need a little extra. But I think it's going to be enough. I might just top up here and there, and then we go again. Now here I want to have it thinner in front, not quite as thin as some guys like to have it, still a few inches, because I'll tell you later what I plan to do planting wise here. And let's just spread it out and sort of create a slope towards the back. You guys must tell me down in the comments who of you have got full-on CO2 injected tanks, and what was your experience with it. I'd be interested to know, as opposed to the low-tech no CO2 method that I've always been following. There we are. Now that's the substrate in. You can't see it here from top, but I'll show you around the side. You can see it sort of sloped towards the back. Power sand underneath it. It's got those root tab like additives in, so we should be good now. There we go around the tank, and there we are. So sand is in. Right, now let's start filling up. I'm just hosing it in from the tap. There's no critters going in as of yet, and let's just fill it up, and there we go. Now I've added some mature filter media along with a matrix. I took some out of my hang-on back filter on the big tank and just moved it in there, so there's some filter bacteria to seed it. And I've also noticed now that there's these little floaty parts floating around on the surface. I'm just going to take that out. I'm sure it won't do any harm, but why not? Let's take this out, and I'm sure more will pop up. And now we're starting the filter. It's got a priming mechanism. It works rather well. And I must say, it's purging the air now, and it purges the air a bit better than other canister filter models. You don't have to move a canister around and shake and bake it. Now, okay, this is the next day. And why didn't I plant anything? Because we're going to do a dark start cycling here. There is some bacteria in the filter media, and I have started tanks of Aquaswell in the past with mature filter media, or a whole mature filter from an established tank, and it went well instant cycle. But that was a cheap Eastar Aquaswell, and the Amazonia Aquaswell, I'm told, leaches a lot of ammonia. So instead of changing water every single day, I'm just going to let it run with a filter and the heater inside the filter on for about 3 to 4 weeks. We'll measure it, and we'll let the filter and the beneficial bacteria establish itself. I've heard from my local fish store that I should change 90% of the water every week during the part of a dark cycle. Others says don't change the water. Tell me down in the comments, have you done this before, the dark cycle thing, and how did you approach it? But I'm going to leave this running. I think it will take about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I think the mature handful of media I put in might speed it up a little bit. But this is what we're going to do now, so we're going to have to be a bit patient, and planting will come in the next edition of this tank. But that is it for now, but I can also tell you what I plan on planting, and then you can tell me what you think, if that would be a good choice, or maybe you have a different idea of what I should plant in this aquarium. So let me just explain what I'm planning. Right here in the front, in front of the rocks, and maybe a little bit around to the sides, I want to finally do a carpet, full-on carpet. So I was thinking I'm going to do a Monte Carlo carpet over here in the front. Maybe there, sort of next to the rocks, maybe a bit of S-repens, but I'm not sure if that's a bit overdue. And then here in the gap, behind the gap, I want to put some Cryptocorini crispatula, or Balancea, like some people tell them, like you see here. I've grown it before in my no-tech tanks, but it doesn't grow really well. So in the CO2 environment, I'm hoping it'll do better. And off to the sides, I'm thinking maybe some Rotala Super Red there by the side of a rock. So we'll have a carpet in front. We'll have Crispatula Balancea in the middle, and then to the side, maybe a different red plant, maybe something like Mermaid's Tail, maybe Red Ludwigia. You guys must tell me what you think. So I want some red plants, carpet, and I want to try and grow that crypt that I always like properly this time. Well, that's it from me, guys. As we look at these high-tech tanks that I'm trying to emulate in this aquarium, please remember to hit that subscribe button. And until I see you guys again, take good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.